gotta understand that the Bible is an allegorical book. Holy in Greek means helios. Helios means sun. Bible in Greek means biblios. Biblios means book or paper. The Bible is about the sook. Jesus Christ comes from I don't even like to say sun god because it was all just personification. But we're going to say sun god in this instance. The sun god, Egyptian sun god, Horus or Horu. How do we make the connection? Jesus in Latin is Jesus. Jesus is Horu in Zeus. When the Greeks went to Egypt, which was an African civilization, and stole our knowledge and understanding on the planet Earth, and they plagiarized our gods, which if you read the book, The History of Herodotus, which Herodotus was a homosexual Greek philosopher that they call a scholar, in his book, History of Herodotus, Herodotus himself quotes that the Greeks copied their 12 gods on Mount Olympus from the Egyptian deities. So,
hey, grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Berean TV. More madness in the conscious community. When it comes to the conscious community, a lot of people don't know many of their so-called master teachers, many of these new teachers that's coming up. They're pseudo scholars. They're not real scholars, or they're in training. They read certain things and they don't do proper research. I'm going to bring up a video. I'm going to show y'all a video. Maybe I'll play it first. I don't know how I'm going to get this thing edited up. With young Pharaoh and the madness that he's talking about. I'm understanding why a lot of people call him young pseudo. But it's not only Pharaoh. It's so many people. I hear some things that Polite say, and because they throw out big words, a lot of people don't go and research what they're saying. Now, young Pharaoh start talking about, and I have a video out on the Book of the Sun Madness. This is a lot of the stuff that's in the conscious community. Those are doctrines that's come from prison. From, Clinton, Attica, and Sing Sing. A lot of guys get locked up and do a bunch of reading. They do a bunch of reading, and the problem is they're not trained in research, how to understand the source, how to understand a primary, a secondary source. Certain things they're not trained in. So whatever they hear, they pick it up and they run, and they make the same mistakes. I see a lot of what young Pharaoh says comes from Jordan Maxwell. A mystic said angels or beings, UFOs came to him. They spooked out with the Anunnaki. They say a lot of things with Christian, but the conscious community, y'all are spooked out. Y'all have a lot of blind faith. Young Pharaoh, Polite, they're talking about UFOs and all of this stuff. And I'm not going to even get into the UFO thing right now, but I want to talk about just plain research. Now, he started talking about the word holy. He said holy is a Greek word, helios. Helios is not the word for holy. And I don't understand where the stuff is coming from. If you have a blue letter Bible or if you have a concordance, all you have to do is check this stuff out. He'll get here and he'll start saying, well, the Bible is the book of the sun and it's Helios. No, that's not the proper Greek word. Hagios and Helios are two different words. The Greek word for holy is Hagios. The Hebrew word is Kodesh. Why do we often use those two things? Because the Old Testament is primarily written in Hebrew and the New Testament primarily in Greek. So when you go picking up Latin words, Jesus and Zeus and all of this is madness. No scholar. I'm not even dealing with religion. No scholar dealing with various languages would go for some of the madness that he says that, or young Pharaoh say that I hear from the conscious community, and people pick it up and they repeat it like they know what they're talking about. In all actuality, they don't know what they're talking about. So I'm urging Christians, when they start running up on y'all and asking y'all certain things, you ask them questions also. And if you don't have the answer, say, I'll look into it. The conscious community is falling apart when it comes down to it. It's a lot of beefing, the debate, and the money, and the beefing back and forth with so many leaders. It's nothing but ego. They're all on an ego trip, and everybody's not really that learned. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I know how to do a little bit of research. I understand certain things. I know for a fact that 325 Christianity wasn't invented. It's impossible. How is it impossible? We have the writings of the church fathers. 200-300 years before Constantine is born, people are worshiping Jesus. Read Tacitus. Read history. Read history books. That's all you have to do. Another thing. What else? What else? Young Pharaoh talking about? He started talking about Herodotus. Herodotus. He was a homosexual. First of all, we don't even have no evidence if he was a homosexual. Did Greeks participate in homosexuality? Of course, but to say Herodotus is a homosexual and he's a philosopher, that's not right and exact. Herodotus' histories. He was a geographer. He wrote maps. He wrote maps, and he traveled and he explained to other people as a historian the history that the Greeks received from the Egyptian priest. As he traveled around, he just wrote down history. Pharaoh said that he was a homosexual philosopher. That's absolutely wrong. You can't make statements like that. What else? Young Pharaoh's saying a whole bunch of crazy stuff. When it comes down to it, the conscious community, they've gone mad. Plain and simple. And a lot of the stuff in the conscious community is built on pseudo-science, is built on pseudo-history, a false history. They want to make things up. When you start dealing with Nicaea, they have to make things up. This falls under conspiracy theory.
Unbalanced. Now, before I go into a black woman as God, let me shut your Christianity shit down. It's 2015. Christianity was created in 325 AD. AD does not mean after the death of Jesus. It means after damnation. Because it wasn't until in the AD, because you got BC, which means they say before Christ, but it really means before the Caucasian. Because before 4086 BC, there was no such thing as a white person on the planet.
You heard it yourself. AD means after damnation and BC means before the Caucasian. I don't know what to say. People, y'all have to do your research. You have to do your research. A lot of things that y'all often in the conscious community want to put on believers, on Christians, you practice the same thing, blind faith, ignorance, just accepting what the teacher is saying, what the preacher is saying, what the person is saying. Don't get it twisted. It's church. Sinetta and them, they collect money. It's an offering. They in there hollering. They in there standing up. They clapping. It's church. Ray Hagen, the same thing. Same thing. It's all church. So, any way you want to put it, the scholarship is not seriously there. You know, a scholar could be someone that is in training, but most of the time, excuse me, when they use the word scholar, they're attempting to say that Seti is the general. He is an Egyptologist. He reads the glyphs. And matter of fact, that's a whole nother thing when we start dealing with the conscious community. And they're arguing back and forth. Can the Metu Neter be translated? Is it properly translated? That's the spiritual principles coming out of Egypt. So if they're arguing over the Metu Neter being translated, or the Egyptian African spiritual system of cultivation, and they don't really know what it say, they're really confused. They're really confused. But I'm gonna play a little bit more. He's gonna explain to y'all what Christian really mean. You've been watching Berean TV. Stop the madness.
Now, Christianity means crush the unity. Christianity, crush the unity. Crush the unity of who? The black race.